All right. I am here. We have 2 minutes and 51 seconds. So old school. Old school. All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. Kinius here. We don't have to be formal, though. If you want to call me by my real name, Kinius is the broadcast name I've been using for decades. My online name, screen name, I use it for all my gaming, yada, 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 Kinius. But if you want to be informal, my name is Tony. Okay. So, yesterday was all about the future and the big feature that I think we need in avionics to do intercity with all the new aircraft. The future, I want to call them future aircraft, but they're not future aircraft. They're aircraft we have that are coming today, tomorrow. Not a long wait for these things. And they have super simplistic flight controls. Grandma, we could get Grandma on one, and in 30 minutes, Grandma could be flying us around town like a pimp. And I said, you know, with your level of knowledge, you could probably pick it up in 5 minutes. Okay, so now if anything would go wrong, Grandma's chance of survivability is just out the window. I mean, just, no. It ain't gonna happen. You should still have extensive flight knowledge and experience. And, you know, then in an aircraft that has the very latest super simplistic flight controls, yada, yada, yada. If something goes wrong, your survivability is, you know, guaranteed. Not pretty much, but pretty much. So today, and I was saying yesterday, are we going to want to go back then? once we start having aircraft from here on out that are super simplified, this is now archaic. Every bit of this, even this over here now. Everything in this cockpit is now ancient history. This is very primitive, even the GPS. Just so primitive to the touch screens, and pretty soon voice-driven controls, and we're going to have AI chat bots in our avionics in the future. Take me to Walmart. Which one? The one closest to me. What do you think? Ah, yeah. Dude, done. You're on your way. Take me to grandma's house. Dude. So I was saying, are we going to ever want to go back now? Well, kids today, I don't know that they will. Other than the ones that are like, I want to know. I want to know how it all started. I want to know how to fly this way. So I imagine today that that's what's going to happen. You know, to talk about career mode, well, here comes your instructor. He's like, I want to see you, I want you to dazzle me with a little bit of old school stuff today. So today is my thought on that. Let's go back and see if we can remember how to do anything. There are certain things that I just don't know how to do. That I'm going to make my instructor just displeased as all get up. Okay, and that being, right off the bat, this. I've got it with me. So he's side-eyeing me. Got it with me. So it's good to have it with you. At least to demonstrate. If they tell you to break it out, then you have to fess up and say, well, you know, in Microsoft Simulator, there really isn't such thing. And, you know, it's not part of my daily training in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I like spinning the wheel. I can do that for you. You're going to have to help me out here. If you know how to use this thing and you're watching this video, sure. Sure. If you want to direct how to use that thing, cool. It's got another side to it too. So I have watched videos on how to do this stuff. You know, it's not part of our everyday flight sim. You don't come in and, yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're ready to go, folks. So I'm showing him that, hey, check it out. I'm at least one step ahead. Got the wind charts. So I can see what's happening, right? We can get the temperature. You know, so we're down in here. We're within, so about 50, 60 degrees. And where we're going to be flying more towards Denver or Pueblo, it's going to warm up. No clouds, really no precipitation. We can check though. Make them happy. All right. What we should do is show them that we know how to find the ATIS without calling it in. All right, so here's our airport instructor. Here is the time. This is, yeah, something. And then this is our wind. Wind coming from 100 at 7 knots. It's telling us we have clear skies, 10 miles. And here is our altimeter setting right here, 3028, with some other remarks, which I'm going to displease them by saying I don't really know how to continue to read the remarks, other than this might be an automatic weather station, and I don't know what this means. But he wanted to know this. All right, good. So 3028. So that old school goes into here. Three zero. No. Right about there. Okay. So that's done. The Black Forest VOR. Ah, okay. Black Forest VOR, he says. Black Forest VOR is 112.5. So I need to change one of these. You know what I forgot to turn on? That'll make you happy. Maybe. That's a little touchy. Or maybe we have it exactly centered. But I've got head tracking set up. Yeah. Let me adjust my chair. One moment. It's going to be worse until I get it all worked out. Start it and stop it again. Get myself centered first. A little bit better. I'm going to move around. Use the mouse, see if I can stop it. I've just got to learn to make my head stop moving. That's tough. Maybe I can set the sensitivities on it different. So in some ways, I like using the joystick more. Or the mouse for controlling my view. All right, 1125. Oh, you. All right, I'm going to turn it back off. Just remember when we get back up in the air. Right now, it's off. That's comms. So do we push? Yep. Up. Short-term memory. 1125. And 125, and then you have to switch it and make it active. So BRK is now active in nav 1, and he's going to want us to... He's going to want us to acquire the 90... the 91 radial. Go to world low. The 91 radial from BRK out to 80 ANE, or keep going out to Chiba, because they have some pilots doing parachuting around here. So we have to avoid this area. So going out to Chiba should do that. And it says that's 27 miles. So I don't know exactly how to calculate that. Oh, but he can keep an eye on our GPS and we'll get there. So I don't know the time conversion. That's another thing. I don't use my stopwatch near enough to be able to say, oh yeah, it's gonna be exactly 10 minutes and 2.37 seconds, and we'll be there. So He'll be happy if I can get us on the 91. So I have to remember how to do that. Okay. And that is going to involve using our OBS. And I need to turn this CDI to V-lock. And then I need to, if I press it, it should center, right? No. Nope. Got this one. 2. That's centered. 2. And it's telling us that it is just over our shoulder to the west. But we have to fly the 91. I need from. Is this supposed to go on the 90? There's 90. So I don't know what he's gonna think about that at the moment. I haven't done this in a while, so I think might be in the ballpark. Don't know. Skip all the checklist stuff. Too much to do already. Okay. Mix looks right. Everything looks right. This is awful quiet. Did I turn down all the sound? Probably. There we go. Hit my heading bug. Turn to 91. So last I heard, they are actually trying to phase out VOR. They're like, it's getting too archaic now. Everybody's using GPS. I don't think I would phase them out. I would just, I don't know. Easy to say when it's not my money. Don't phase them out. Just, yes, keep adding in the new stuff, but in some ways, I was talking about, do we want to go back? In some ways, they may not let us go back. So it's saying now the VOR is on my left shoulder. I'm going to try to turn to intercept the BRK 91 radial. And then turn 91. So I'm getting ready to get to the radial. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. One more. He's not happy with my turn. I'm not happy with my turn. But we are now going approximately course heading 91, and our VOR kind of reflects the same thing. Trying to get us in a trim position here so I can kind of ease my hand off the joystick and not sweat with the old guy staring me down.
Colorado Springs approach Cessna Kilo India November is type Cessna Skyhawk 2 miles east of Kilo Foxtrot Lima Yankee 7,700 feet. Request flight following.
Okay, we got that wind pushing from the south, which again, we didn't use our E6B to know. Okay, let me pause right there. Normally there's no pausing in the real world, but that goes back to areas of training that aren't readily available in the simulator. Okay, so as we're traveling, as we saw from our METAR, the wind. Okay. Well, now these winds are pushing. Now the winds have kind of changed. But again, you know, how accurate is it? How fast will it update in the simulator? It's pretty fast. But a little while ago, the winds were pushing more from the south. These all look lined up. I don't even know how that could be. They were going all over the place. Yeah. See, these are all going the exact opposite direction. Whoops. What happened there? There we are. Okay, see, this is a little bit, seemingly a little bit more accurate. You see these winds from this region, they are pushing that way, and that's what I'm experiencing. I'm flying into the wind, but we've got a wind pushing us now from here. We've got winds coming up this way. And, you know, you can see between these 2 points how the wind is pushing us. So, you know, then it's like one of these where they're going to tell you, come in here, find your wind speed, right, and do this and turn this, and you know, you might have to go up and down and make a mark and slide things, and you know, that will tell you your course setting, you know, which course setting should you be flying. So to maintain the 91,
Squawk 2 tree for 6 Cessna India November.
you know, what should I actually be pointing at?
Contact 2 miles east of Kilo Foxtrot Lima Yankee 7,500 feet. Altimeter 29er decimal.
I'm trying to hold it.
Roger Cessna India.
And again, let's try to trim the plane out. Our VOR needle seems off now. It's saying the 91 is over here. So we're off of it. So now I have to turn to the north to intercept it and get the needle centered up again. right, now get back to my crappy coordinated turns. Try to get on that 91 again. All right. Now he's not going to like this very much, but it's available in the cockpit. To get back over onto it, be a little bit more precise. So what I'm going to tell them is this point, you know, look, we've got it available. I know you don't want me to use it, but I really want to demonstrate that sometimes it's better to add just a touch of technology in. Let me get over here, and I'm going to try to ensure to you, Mr. Instructor, that I'm going to keep you on that 91 radio. Best I can. Come on. Come on. A little more, a little more. Our altitude. That's good. Let's hold that. All right. Let's see if we have some distance measuring information at all from BRK. .8. 8.9. So we're supposed to go 20, 23, somewhere in there. So according to our map and our plot, we have to do 27 miles on this radial. It's going to get really crappy down here, because what we need to do then is we need to find this radial from the Pueblo VOR, and we need to fly it down to 10 miles within. We have to fly it to 10 miles within the VOR, and then we've got to fly an arc. You've got to try to maintain 10 miles while you make an arc in the sky and arrive at 200 and the course heading 252. And you've got to then turn and follow the 252 from the VOR down to the runway. Easy, right? Gotcha. All right. That's all right. Okay. And we've deviated. Further you get away from the VOR, kind of like the less accurate, I believe. But either way, this could be also wind. I don't know if this has the ability to hold the radio in the autopilot other than using heading hold. But we'll try. .8 miles. Check the chat room. How do you feel? Do you like going back and using the old stuff? Do you think that you would want kids today to also know this stuff when it's going to be so darn easy for them in the future? No comments. Okay, we're getting close to being back on it again. And then I'm going to try something in the autopilot. It says we need to be on. Oh, nav. Okay, so I've switched from heading to nav. I don't want to turn around and go the opposite direction. I want to keep flying this radial from. By Jove, I think we have it. But we're going to stall. Keep my eyes moving around the cockpit over my instruments. Yeah, let's turn off the autopilot. Let's try to pull up first. Nope, we're dead. Maybe we'll skip back up and get altitude again. And then we'll stall again. Rookie. Oh, I failed for the day. Yeah, my eyes weren't moving around my gauges, and I had lowered my throttle to try to put us into cruise, and I must have pulled back too much because it couldn't maintain altitude. That's a real drag. We just skipped, sir. We're all right. Okay. You can breathe. 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 We're alive. As I brought us down right next to the wind towers. Okay, we need to make sure that we are not set to anything. Oh my. Nose up. Gonna make it do a vertical speed. That was it. Just set it. Oh. Oh. And now. You can get back on it. Come on, power. The air pressure thing, probably. I don't know. Come on, you. Turn on my pitot heat. It's not that cold out, though. It's within reason. Or distance. 16 miles. Still at a stall. We're going to flip again. There we go. And we're going to crash again. Oh my goodness. Horrible, horrible, horrible. All right. Don't give up. Let's go to... Yeah. I remember me thinking all the time in the past and saying it in my earliest live streams. Autopilot will always try to kill you. The autopilot will always try to kill you. And I have forgotten that mantra. The autopilot will always try to kill you.
Colorado Springs approach Cessna Kilo India November. Is type Cessna Skyhawk 5 miles south of 5 Victor 48,700 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna Kilo India November, Colorado Springs approach. Squawk 2263.
Squawk 226 Cessna India November.
I think we lost the, did we lose the BRK VOR?
Radar contact 5 miles south of
There's east.
48,500 feet. Altimeter 29.902.
Roger, Cessna India November.
Ah. So one, it switched, and then we lost our nav radio. One 125. Okay. We have to try to re-intercept, and we're at 18.7 miles. Well, you can do two things at once. I don't want to hold it the whole time. Yesterday's instruction was about the future and how simple it's going to be and how easy it's going to be. And so I'm in the ballpark. I'm still following my VORs. So not using this thing. So I'm trying to get us out to this point here at 27 miles on vector radial 91 from the BRK VOR. We're paused. Not even close to it. Bubba. turn that far. The hell did we get so far off course? It was like the OBS was stuck. As soon as I touched it, I just moved it one hair. So that's a trip. Like, there's no way we have to fly this far north. We were just near it. So now it's all the way back. And we've got to turn all the way back south.
Cessna India November, November, contact Denver Center on 125.905. Good day.
125.905 Cessna India November, November. Good
The only thing that we needed to avoid, and that's the reason why we're going out to this point, is
November, 8,800 feet.
there is parachuting going on
Kilo India November, November, Denver Center altimeter.
here.
2 radar contact. Continue.
United States Air Force Academy,
Contact Colorado Springs.
intensive student training.
0.
So we need to, I didn't want to cut it
124
here. I wanted to come out to Chiba.
Goodbye. Colorado Springs approach Cessna Kilo India November, November 8,800 feet.
From Chiba,
Cessna Kilo India November, November.
we need to go down and catch the Pueblo VOR
2 radar contact. Continue.
on the 354 or 338. That's the one we actually want right there. Around ZITUG. And that'll get us, that'll be 10 miles. Plan that. That'll put us 10 miles out to this point to do the DME, an approximation of a DME ARC. All right. And there's Chris. One moment, please. Oh, let's stop the head turning thing.
Tony?
Okay. So we're getting back to it, and we're at 20 miles on the distance measuring equipment. Hello, Llama Drama Farmer. Hello. All right, we're coming up on that radial, the 91 radial from BRK, and we'll need to turn. Closer, closer. Come on.
India, November, November, contact Denver Center on 128.375. Good day.
128.375 Cessna, India, November, November. Good
All right, 22 miles.
Denver Center, Cessna Kilo, India, November, November, 8,800 feet.
Cessna Kilo, India, November, November, Denver Center, altimeter, 29.9er, 2 radar contact, continue.
And I need to go down to 7,000 feet. We need to do a flight level change. Let me turn off the alt. So 500 feet per minute. And we're going down. And we're still holding our course. And we're at 25 miles. We need to make our turn. All right, we need to make our turn. And first, we want to try to intercept the as quick as possible. Well, I guess we don't, because we still want to kind of skirt around the pilots. We want to intercept the 354 from Pueblo. So Pueblo is 116.7. Let's use nav 2. Make it active. And we need 355. I don't actually know at the moment how to make. Let's see. Going to be set to 2 or from. Right now it says from. I think we want to be at 2. But I think that would put the radial on the opposite side. There's 2. $350. Close enough. 20. Oh, how the hell did we just jump forward so fast? We're at 31 miles now. All right, well, we need to turn south. Because now we want to try to intercept the Pueblo radial. So yesterday I was talking about these new planes that are coming, the new avionics that are coming, all the future tech that is about to be unleashed on us. And from here going forward, it's going to get more simple and more simple and more simple and more simple and more computerized. And yesterday we took the F-35 up, which is it's a basic indicator about on how these new VTOL are going to work and operate. And so we hovered around a bit and we talked about having new Bing avionics to make things even easier to get around. And I brought up that, are we going to want to go backwards? Do you want to? Would you want to skip all this? They're going to start phasing out VOR. Oh, went down too far. Not paying attention. And so that inspired today to try to, and we're on the radio, so I need to turn south. Too far. Way too far. We should be shooting for 21 right at the moment. Try to intercept still. Thought we were on it. May have got a little too low there. All right, so yeah, do we want to go back? Are these necessary skills? I think they are, and I think in the long run, the more you know, the more you know, the more you know. So yeah, I may not know everything about all of this, but this is where we started. This is what we all had to know to begin with. I think unless kids have a fascination. Here, we're coming up on 7. All right. I think unless kids have a fascination with learning the old stuff, they're not going to want to. And they're not going to have to, really. So how is everybody today? Hopefully you're doing great. Not a care in the world. Oh, I like the head tracking. Right at the moment. I think we lost our... I think the VOR switched on us. What? I'm not getting PUB. What? Oh, it is 1167. It's just what? Nav2 doesn't have DME? Let me change this one. 1167. That way we get DME. From no. Stuff, if you don't use it every day when you're practicing, or, you know, you lose it. Let's try that. I'm fine, thanks. What I was doing yesterday is I was just demonstrating that the new planes that we're going to have available to us coming soon, they operate like the F-35. In the way that you're going to be able to control them. So from being able to go from a hover, raise yourself, spin side, you know, spin around, sway, slew sideways, left and right, and your ability to control your throttle precisely, like with the F-35, and your ability to transition back and forth with the click of a button between forward flight and VTOL. All right, we're getting there. I'm looking at that needle right there. So the plan here is to try to do something like this DME ARC, right? So I'm trying to, right at the moment on this map, we're flying this radial, we're flying this direction, and we flew down here and we've intercepted this radial and that turn that I just put us on has us coming down here. So what we're supposed to do is, actually we need to shoot for this one now, because now we need to get on this radial, which is 338, and watch our DME to get to 10 miles here. Okay, so I need to turn this to 338. And now go west again. So doing this to avoid paratrooper space on our visual flight rules map, making sure that we stay clear of all that area over there. So yeah, I mean, I don't really flight plan and do this stuff at all anymore. This is all I did for the first year, the first 2 years. All I did is want to learn how to use this stuff, which I've mostly already forgotten. But you know, then there's the need to keep learning everything else. Learn how to use the GPS, learn how to use the autopilot, learn how to use the G1000. But all of my old videos, all my old live streams, the earliest, in another folder under noob flights. This is all I was doing for a long time, and learning triangulation and practicing triangulation, and I still like it. I just, again, I don't necessarily want to be so hands-on. I've limited my use of the autopilot for, you know, heading holds and alt holds, things like that. All right, getting on it. Cool, and the gang would say, get down on it. Oh, so mostly yesterday again, you know, flying the F-35. The point I was really ultimately trying to make is that there's Colorado West, East, that we need new avionics. We need inner city avionics. These VTOLs are going to have limited battery life, and if you're going to be a VTOL Uber taxi or DoorDash or whatever, if you're going to be operating the way that they want us to operate in these VTOLs coming soon, we're going to need flight planning at a micro level. And so right now, Asobo, I mean, Microsoft, they got Bing. So my suggestion was Asobo create something like a Bing Maps avionics for us, so that when we're flight planning, I can literally fly from grandma's house to Walmart to Ross to Kohl's to Lowe's to Home Depot to the airport to pick up somebody, you know, over here, blah blah blah. We're going to need something super precise, because the tools that we even currently have in Microsoft Flight Simulator don't allow you to do that. The best maps that we have, the VFR maps that we have, like Google Maps and Bing Maps for tracking, you can find what you need, but there's no search capability. So you almost have to use the web and find out where you're going, and then it's cumbersome. It's really cumbersome. So we need something with the ease of Bing Maps to be able to just search nearest landmarks, nearest restaurants, nearest this, nearest that. And then with Bing or Google, you don't get directions, and it creates a, you know, your plan based on where you need to get to, and it gives you your times and blah, 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 blah. Well, we need the same thing, but now we need a button that sends that data immediately into your avionics and into your autopilot, which is part of your avionics. But so I just needed to be able to do an auto route. I don't necessarily even need to do much flying. I just have a need to get to point A to point B as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible, and as safely as possible. But I first need to be able to get there.
Springs approach altimeter 29.9, 2 radar contact. Continue.
Okay, now we are, okay, so we're 24 miles from the Black Forest VOR. Okay. And this is a tricky area too. They have military, for reasons of national security, you've got to be careful when you're flying towards Pueblo. Because this whole area here in the red checkered, red dotted dashed area, for reasons of national security, pilots are requested to avoid flight at and below 3,000 feet above ground level in this area. So we're over here though. We're on the 338 now, coming down. But that's something to think about if you're trying to fly by the book. I still think the DME ARC puts us into it though. I'm not entirely sure. So if you look over here on this screen, it's telling us this point right here is 10 miles from the Pueblo VOR. Okay. So when we hit the 10-mile point, we have to turn east.
Going to 124.0 Cessna, India, November.
And then they kind of want us to keep using our OBS needle as we fly this way to turn, to try to maintain 10 miles out. And we need to keep flying 10 miles out on this curve until we arrive at the 252. Okay, we need to be at 6,000 feet as we approach it. And keep flying 252 to the VOR. And then we should have the runway in sight. So that's the theory. I haven't done a DME ARC in a long time.
120.1 Cessna, India, November. Goodbye. Denver,
All right.
Cessna Kilo, India.
We're just a little adrift, so let me go a little bit more south.
Cessna Kilo India, November, Denver, approach altimeter 29.9, radar contact, continue.
And we're at 18.9 miles. And we're at approximately at the right height. Still need to come down to 6,000. I wonder what it is for reasons of national security. That small little circle, is that where the UFO come down? That's their area. It's just a small little round radius. They can just drop straight down. But that's their spot. Who knows, man? That's a trip though. time is it? It is 8 minutes after the hour. You're watching Phineas on YouTube TV, YouTube live streaming. Doing sort of old school today. Flying with steam gauges, using our VORs, using VORs and our instruments in the cockpit to fly to and from certain radials from VORs, and then try to do something like a DME ARC. And the thoughts are, I keep hearing that song from Steely Dan in my head. I ain't never going back to my old school. That's been in my head all morning. Because this all came from yesterday. And the future and where we're going and the options we're going to have available in the simulator and in the real world soon to have, you know, super computerized controls and fly in a completely different manner and have advanced avionics. And so once we get there, you know, how often do you think you're going to find yourself coming back to this kind of cockpit? As a simmer, I think in the real world, you're not going to have a choice, you know, depending on your budget and everything else for some time, still a little bit of time, but we're not in the big picture of things. We're not talking about much time at all. There's 12 miles. Now, ultimately, we need to get to let's say 252. 252. It's gonna be a bitch. Pardon my language. 252. That'll be 2. But first, we're gonna have to go east. Yeah. Maybe this should be from. Crap, I don't remember. I need to turn east. .3 miles. There, we're at 10 miles. .9. Yeah, I mean, I know you're typing the LOL after that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, we're at 10. Let me turn. That is exactly right. That kind of thinking. Absolutely that kind of thinking. We need a way to get our to and from super fast. They're saying with like the Joby anyway, the Archer is going to be a heavy battery, and so you'll be able to do, they're saying cross country in the Archer, but the Joby is going to be the one that's going to be mostly used for taxi, and they're saying 20 minutes. But Americans are fat, and they're totally ignoring that fact, and they're trying to make it sound better than it is. But the truth of the matter is, if you're carrying around a load or 3 fat people, you're not getting 20 minutes out of your battery. You know, that's not a whole lot of window for error and inefficiency. Just like you're saying, whether it's a QR code, whether it's a quick search on Bing before you turn your engines on, but yeah, a fast way to get exactly that. Incurred, I'm a little closer than I need to be. Been skirting 9.5. I turned a little too sharply. Trying to cut the arc. Hey, you got it. You absolutely have the right idea. .2. Let me turn a little bit more. We're starting to get to our needle. Getting on it pretty fast. All right, 252. And we were supposed to be at 6,000 by that point. So I kind of screwed up. We're going to need to be 4,000 here in a minute. Yeah, we were supposed to be at 6,000 there. But airport ahead. And we're just supposed to fly this radial to the airport and come down for runway 26.
Pueblo Tower, Cessna Kilo, India, November, November, is 12 miles east, 6,400 feet, with Quebec to land.
Cessna Kilo, India, November, November, Pueblo Tower. Altimeter 29er, 2 wind, column fly straight, in runway 26 left.
Make straight in runway 26 left, Cessna, India, November, November.
You all right? They have us out here though. That's not right. That's not right. We're supposed to be over here. So it doesn't say on the chart. It said just keep flying 252 in. No, that's right. Nope, nope, nope. There we go. You. My view. What the hell? This isn't the airport? How's the airport? What? And it's not even there. What in the hell? I wasn't reading the right thing. Too far out. Doesn't make any damn sense. Postal. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I wasn't paying attention to the engine. Thank you, thank you. coming. It's coming over here. Oh, no, the other way. Reversed. It's from. Yep, turn the wrong way. I think. I don't know. It's been a long time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
To land runway 26 left Cessna, India, November, November.
It has us, now if I'm saying it right, it has us pretty far right. No, too slow. Unless we're the short runway. I wasn't reading the, but we're supposed to be 26 left. A good reason to have autopilot. You have to look at your charts here. Yeah, it is left. All right, well, we're here. It all does make you appreciate advanced avionics and GPS. Most certainly does.
Cessna India November November exit runway when able.
All right. So, kind of old school flying. So, we took off from KCOS and we used the BRK VOR to follow the 91 radial to 27 miles out to the Chiba waypoint on the world low map for that waypoint. And then we turned and intercepted the Black Forest VOR at Drake. And once we established onto Drake, cut over to the 338. Followed the 338 to a little over 10 miles close to the VOR. Did an approximation of a DME ARC. Not perfect. It wasn't bad. Could have been worse. Could have just cut straight across. So I tried maintaining 10 miles in the arc, 252, and then didn't realize how far we were away from the airport and thought that once we turned we were lined up. Nope, hadn't even got to the VOR. So the distance between here and here, well, between here really and here, should have been thinking about that spatially better. So yeah. Things you have to know. And we did use our weather today. We used our METAR. Got our METAR from here today. And didn't use this. Thank goodness. I don't know how. I'm going to watch some more videos. But this isn't part of our Microsoft Flight Simulator experience. Never has been. But how interesting would that be? Do you think it would be difficult at all for them to include this? I know that they keep pushing us for, you know, all these new future tools. But there's never been, as far as every simulator I've ever owned, they've never talked about this. They don't bring up one of these in your cockpit when you're going through your training and say, okay, now go here, now do this, and do that. Or hey, flip it over. Do this, do that, do this, click. Ah, good for you, and move on. It's never been part. I don't really know how to use it. I had a general understanding at one point. Also picked up SimBrief. I logged into SimBrief again today, and I have that. I have that now reinstalled. They've got this SimBrief panel that you can use, and once you've logged into it, you can fetch your whatever plan you've created over there. So I set up a plan between Colorado Springs and Denver, and it's got your printout right here, KCOS to Adane on the Victor 389 to Luffs to DCT VOR to Jeffel, and then down to the runway. So then it's got neat little, you know, screens with additional information for you airliner pilots, your weather information, your payload information. I watched another video on tutorial for the Dreamliner, so I realized where I was making my mistakes the other night. Still don't completely got it, but I think I'm more confident to hop in the Dreamliner today than I was the other night. Should have probably done some sort of refreshing before that debacle. Hello, Derpy. Real quick, while I have you all here, it is so easy for me to click on your name, go to your channel. Amin? Is it pronounced Amin Useta? You are subscribed, sir. And we got Llama Drama, and Rent-A-Cat was in here, and there was somebody earlier. Was there somebody else? And we've got DRPE already. Nothing there yet. And let's see what's going on over at Rent-A-Cow's page. Oop. Well, Llama Drum is next, so let's go to channel activity. Nothing yet. Got my fingers crossed.
Cessna, India, November, turn next taxiway.
All right. So 2 weeks ago, we watched this one, right? This was the Lucala one. No, it says landing at Soldier Bar. CJ4, Portland to Oakland. Gliding in Hawaii. Is that what they call it? Soldier Bar? That's a good landing.
Cessna, India, November.
Oops. No, this ain't Lucala. Or maybe it is.
November, turn next taxiway.
No. That's a lot of control. I can't. These tail draggers give me a fit on landing. I'm not real good yet with holding her steady. And I end up spinning out. Tough to do. Good landing. Good landing. Good stuff. Is there anything that you, once you post your stuff, the others, once you get stuff posted, hey, don't hesitate to come in here and tell me and what you've done and show off, and I can go to your channel and check out what you've done. I don't mind seeing what you've done. Anybody who says hello in the chat room, if you need a subscriber, I'm it. So say hello, drop an emoji, say anything. But as long as you're in here, it's easy. As you see, it's easy for me to do, to just click, go to channel, and subscribe to you. Other than that, I have to wait. And sometimes it's really slow on showing me who's subscribed. So if it takes several days, it's not for lack of me, you know, not being on top of it and following you back. It's just YouTube is really slow with that. So let's just speed it up, shall we? Say hello in the chat room. All right, is there, let's see what else we could possibly do today. There are some airspaces, so things you need to pay attention to when you're doing flight plans. Go back to VFR. All right, the obvious one are these big red areas around an airport. And if you're learning how to use air traffic control, if you enter any one of these, you might get a pop-up in your air traffic control saying request to move through the Charlie or Bravo or whatever airspace. And that means you've encroached on one of these areas. And you've got to work with air traffic control, not, you know, and so that they know where you're at and you know where they're at. And all right, these areas in red down here, they're usually off limits, and the lines on the inside indicate the inner area. You don't want to go into these areas so much. Caution, intensive United States Air Force student training within 28 DME of PUB 8,000 and below. So you might want to avoid. So when you're flight planning, you may not just want to cut across. You're trying to do it accurately.
Cessna, India, November, exit runway when able.
So it's kind of tricky. And then this area here is restricted. So they make, I mean, if you're doing this in the real world, it can get really complicated. So if we took off from there and then we need to get, let's say, over here somewhere, we've got a plan to either go around north, or we've got to cut before we get to this area. And the next time we can turn and get around, we would have to cut all the way down here. And then we only have this little small area.
November, exit runway when able.
Plan that. And then we've only got this small little area to navigate through between these two spaces, but you can get clearance through here. But the idea is if you didn't even want to bother with them, let's just say we're going super old school. Class G space, we'll just call it Class OG space because it's old school. But Class G space is for people that don't want anything to do with air traffic control. Freedom, man. It requires that you're super vigilant though, and you don't really go about 1,000 feet above ground level, like to 1,200 feet. You've always got to stay below it, or they got you on the radar. But you're allowed to fly anywhere you pretty much want in Class G airspace, and you don't even have to file flight plans. But again, I think they should raise. I personally think they should raise Class G to 2,000 or 3,000. It's kind of tough maintaining your altitude as you move across the terrain to always be below it. But anyway, you'd have to cut through here. And then the blue areas, again, this is around the, so the blue areas are military. Same up here with the United States Air Force Academy, even though theirs is normally in blue, but now it's in red here. And normally you had to request Class D when moving through here. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Cessna, India, November, turn next taxiway.
Look at how far you have to be out to not encroach Denver at all. You wanted to have to skirt Denver and not enter anybody's airspace. That's a huge area. Anyway, flight planning is a hoot. And, yeah. Get back to the chat real quick.
Cessna, India, November, turn next taxiway.
Oh, did I kill it? I think I closed the wrong window. Of course. I closed the chat window. Well, I just wanted to see if anybody had anything that they wanted to see or to do this afternoon. If not, then I think I can wrap it up there. Because that's really what I wanted to touch on today after yesterday, is now go back and do something old school for the day.
Cessna, India, November, exit runway when able.
Burger just stopped in and then had to split. He's very busy right now. He's got family and girlfriend and schooling, and he's very busy. He's a very active person, so he just stopped in to say hi and then take off. I guess today's question, would you want to, well, again, the question still remains. Do you want to go back? Do you still like flying old school like this? Do you still use steam gauges? Do you still use the basic autopilot? Do you still do VOR to VOR navigation? Have you ever used anything like the E6B? Do you still, well, these you kind of are going to need into the future anyway. You know, you're going to need all this kind of data anyway. So this isn't going anywhere. But now that you have advanced planes and now that you know how to use advanced systems and avionics, do you still like to do this? And as we go forward, if you had to do it in the real world, would you want to do this other than for nostalgia? Or would you rather keep going with all the new stuff? Or I guess combination of both.
Cessna India November exit runway when able.
I think this stuff is really rewarding to know how to do. Absolutely. But these days, there's not a whole lot of room for error in anything. And I don't know, it's just you can try to be as accurate as possible flying manually. But ultimately you're never going to get the kind of precision that you can get by taking that next step. She's starting to bother me. So I don't think you're ever going to get that kind of precision as a manual pilot. Nobody's that perfect. Right? You can calculate things and stick headings, but you're going to, I don't think you'll ever be able to fly as good as the computer can. And so once I started really learning all this stuff and getting a grip on all this stuff, I immediately wanted to learn how to use all of this. Because this allowed me, when I could figure it out and it's not trying to kill me, this allows me to be precise. And there's so many other things you've got to keep your attention on. And so I don't find this a crutch in any way. And then all of this, the next step up to GPS. I would much rather use these days and leverage this technology to be precise, rather than doing it the way we did today. Am I on the right way? Is it supposed to be to from? I can't remember anymore. If you haven't seen the demonstration that the lead developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator, he did a showcase live stream last week. So if you haven't seen it, look for it. Go to YouTube and just look for Asobo live streams for the last week or so. And you're going to see, it's going to say like first developer interview, something like that. But they're interviewing the gentlemen that are going to be bringing these 3 VTOL to Microsoft Flight Simulator with these advanced flying controls. And that will give you a real good idea of how simple it's going to be going forward and what's coming. I think you'll love it. Okay, well, nobody has anything. So I want to wish you all a fantastic afternoon. I don't know what my schedule is for this evening yet, so I just am not going to say anything and just say I'll see you tomorrow. If I see you tonight, I see you. I spent last night really looking at other people's live streams and what they got going on. So, adios.